Hello and welcome, students. Welcome to this session. As we know that we are doing Lord Byron's poem, There is a Pleasure in the Pathless Woods, and we have already completed 1 to 4 stanzas, first, second, third, fourth stanzas. So this poem, as you know, it is about Byron's. It is a kind of semi-autobiographical poem that Byron had made an extensive journey in the European countries and he visited many nations. And after the completion of this journey, he wrote this long poem, that is Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, in 4 cantos actually. And this poem is an extract from Canto 4 of Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. So in this poem especially, there is the expression of the poet's love and admiration of nature. And he, right at the beginning, he says that I love not man the less, but nature more. That is, he is very fond of nature, though he loves society. But when we compare it to the company of nature, he prefers the company of nature. So in stanza 1, we have seen that he is specifying that his love for nature is more than love for man. And in the second one, he is expressing, in the second and the third actually, he expresses the power of the ocean. And in the fourth one, he says that though men feel that he is the maker and the creator of so many things, that he makes buildings and he makes big ships, but these things are as toys to the ocean. And the ocean is the real arbiter of war and not the men. And men takes the honor of thy master, that is master of the ocean, just in vain. Fruitlessly he takes. And now we will start with the stanza 5. So first I'll read the stanza. Thy shores are empires, changed in all save thee. Assyria, Greece, Rome and Carthage, what are they? Thy waters washed them power while they were free, and many a tyrant since their shores obey. The stranger, slave or savage, their decay has dried up realms to deserts. Not so thou, unchangeable, save to thy wild waves play. Time writes no wrinkle on thine azure brow, such as creation's dawn beheld, thou rollest now. So, what is the poet saying is that he's admiring the strength of the sea, and he says that man is helpless before the mighty power of the sea. And he says that your shores, or that is your waters, your waves, they are powerful enough to either make the empires or destroy the empires. Thy shores are empires, that is, there are many empires which were built on the shores of you. That he's actually addressing ocean, that is Mediterranean Sea he's addressing. And there were many empires surrounding Mediterranean Sea. And he says that thy shores are empires, changed in all save thee. These empires have changed, but you have not changed. Changed in all save thee. Over here, the meaning of save is not to save something, bachana, but here it is except. Sivaye tumhare, all the empires have changed. Now he talks about the empires of Assyria, Greece, Rome, Carthage. So, Empire of Assyria, it was founded at the coast of Persian Gulf in 1112 BC, and this empire was defeated in 610 BC. Now the Greek Empire as we know is the most famous empire, and Alexander the Great, if you remember Sikandar Mahan, he was the one who tried to build up a wild empire in the year 336 BC. और हमें सिकंदर महान का नाम भी बहुत पता है, बहुत फेमस नाम है ये सिकंदर महान, and he was a Greek emperor. Then we have Roman Empire. Now Roman Empire, it was built in 753 BC, and by the beginning of the 1st century AD, Roman Empire expanded from Spain to Persian Gulf in the east, from Spain in the west to the Persian Gulf in the east. It was a very huge empire. The most famous empire was the Greek Empire, and second one was Roman Empire. And then we have the fourth empire, that was Carthage Empire. This empire was built in Africa at the coast of the Mediterranean Sea in about 300 BC. And it was such a strong empire that it could also challenge the Roman Empire, the Roman emperors. So, but he says that before these empires are very powerful empires, and they were in the ancient period, ancient times, 2000 years ago, 2500 years ago, these empires were built. So he says, thy waters washed them power while they were free. That he says that it is you who helped them to build those empires. And how did the ocean help them to build the empires? Because as we know that ocean is the cheapest means of transport, and when the cities or the empires are at the coast of the ocean, then they are open for business with all the other different countries, business and trade, and they could do that business and trade through water. And this water or this ocean, it helped to expand their business and make them rich. So as we know that these ancient culture and civilizations, now they do not exist. But if we compare the ocean still exists as it was. Now these empires, he says, what are they? Now what are these empires now? These empires do not exist. Thy waters washed them power while they were free. That your waters, it brought them the prosperity and the expansion which they enjoyed when they were free. So, and many a tyrant since their shores obey the stranger, slave or savage. So he says that on these empires, they also had tyrants. Who are tyrants? Tyrants are the despots. Despots कौन होते हैं? जो निरंकुश शासक होते हैं. Those are despots, the rulers that who rule by their whims. They do not care about anything else, but they rule according to their own will. So he says that thy waters washed them power while they were free, and many a tyrant since their shores obey the stranger. Now he is saying that these empires were also destroyed. And were these empires destroyed? These empires were destroyed that when you are surrounded by the sea and these trade routes and the sea route is opened, then you have both the things. It can bring you power and prosperity through business and trade, but this route also opens up the barbarians and the invaders. Through this route, even the invaders came. Now these invaders were barbarians, and they destroyed these civilizations. So he says that many a tyrant since their shores obey the stranger, slave or savage. That is, these shores, that these empires were defeated by the invaders which came through the sea route, and these empires were destroyed, whether they were slaves or savages. Their decay has dried up realms to deserts. That is, their decay, when these empires they were destroyed, then their decays has dried up the realms to deserts, and not so thou. Now these empires have been converted into deserts. There are no more empires. We don't know. Now we can't see the empire of Assyria, Greece, Rome, Carthage, anything. So what happened to them? These empires were destroyed. And he says that these empires, when we compare these empires with that of the ocean, he says the ocean is still young and as it was before. It has not changed. The empires have changed, but ocean has not changed. These empires have converted into deserts, but not thou. Thou means you, but not you. You remain the same. You are still the same. And excuse me. You remain the same as you were at the beginning, unchangeable save to thy wild waves' play. So he says that you are unchangeable. That is, you have not changed, save to the wild waves' play. Now these wild waves, you changed them. You changed these empires and then you played with them. Time writes no wrinkle on thine azure brow. Azure is sky blue. He says, with the passage of time, as like human beings, they get old, or then they have wrinkles on the face, and even the empires. These empires do not remain forever. The empires they rise and then they fall, they get destroyed. So similarly, he says that time writes no wrinkle on the azure. Wrinkle is jhurri, jhurri padna. Like with the passage of time, as you grow older and older, you start having wrinkles. Wrinkles also symbolize decay. That whatever is born, then it gets decayed. That's what happened with these empires. But he says, time writes no wrinkle on thine azure brow. कि तुम्हारे माथे पर there is no wrinkle. That is, you are as young and energetic and powerful and mighty as you were at the time of birth. Such as creation's dawn beheld, thou rollest now. That you still remain as you were at the time of the creation. Dawn of creation, जब creation संसार की रचना शुरू हुई थी, and when God had made all these things, God had made men and God had made the nature. So he says that you remain as you were at that time of birth. But men and man-made empires have been destroyed. So what is he saying? That in this stanza, what he's saying is that the empires have got destroyed, but the ocean remains as mighty, as powerful as it was. There are no wrinkles, there are no signs of aging, there are no signs of decay as these empires. These empires, once they were so powerful, but now they all have decayed and have been destroyed. But when we compare it to the ocean, then ocean is still as fresh, as young, and as mighty as it was at the time of the creation. So now let's take the next paragraph. Now let me read this sixth paragraph. Thou glorious mirror, where the Almighty's form glasses itself in tempests in all time, calm or convulsed, in breeze or gale or storm, icing the pole or in the torrid climb, dark heaving, boundless, endless, and sublime. The image of eternity, the throne of the invisible, even from out thy slime, the monsters of the deep are made. Each zone obeys thee, thou goest forth, dread, fathomless, alone. Now let's first do some of the words' meanings for the difficult words. He says that glasses itself. Glasses itself means reflects itself, shows itself in tempests. Tempests are the storms. Now, convulsed. Convulse is very turbulent. Convulse होता है जब बहुत ज़्यादा उथल पुथल जब होती है समुद्र में, due to big waves and all that. So he says whether it was calm is peaceful, or convulse, very turbulent. In breeze or gale or storm. This is wind. Breeze is a slightly flowing wind. Gale is a fast blowing wind. And storm, as we know, tufan, when the speed of the wind is very fast and it is very destructive. Then you have dark heavings. Heavings is, that is, upheavals. ऊपर उठता है. Then you have image of eternity. Eternity क्या? Eternal किसे कहते हैं? Eternal is something which remains forever. शाश्वत, that remains forever. It does not die. That is, who does not die? We believe that God does not die, and God is eternal. So he says he is the image of eternity. Then you have invisible. Invisible is something which is not visible to the naked eye. We cannot see it. So who does this invisible stand for? Invisible stands for God. Monsters. Monsters are the huge, very big sea animals. And then you have zones. Zones of the earth are, जो भी उसके zones हैं, जैसे इसमें earth में जो whatever zones you have the polar zones, torrid zones, temperate zones. All these zones are the, in geography we have studied that our earth is divided into various zones. And then fathomless. Fathomless is the word which means bottomless, or fathom means to measure it, that you cannot measure it. So this is fathomless. So we have done these difficult words. Now let's start analyzing the poem. So, thou glorious mirror, where the Almighty's form glasses itself in tempest. He's saying that this ocean is so powerful. The poet is praising the mighty ocean, and he says that time has no power on it. It has no sway on it, and the ocean keeps rolling on today as it had done at the time of creation. And he says that this ocean is the symbol of God. It reflects the God, the power of God. It is the glorious mirror. That is, it is the reflection of the power of God, where Almighty's form is His creation, His various aspects. Glasses itself मतलब उसको दर्पण है. It reflects, प्रतिबिंबित होता है. Glasses itself in tempest. Tempest is storms. When we feel sometimes, and when there are very strong storms, we feel that God is very angry with us. That is why He's sending these cyclones and storms. And sometimes, in all time, calm or convulsed. Sometimes the ocean is very calm, and sometimes it is very turbulent. So we feel that it shows the mood of God. What is the mood of mood of God, whether God is happy and peaceful or whether he is angry and turbulent. In breeze or gale or storm, as I told you in the words meanings, that this shows the speed of the wind and the turbulence of the sea. Breeze is a very light wind and gale is a strong wind, and storm, as you know, it's a very, very strong wind, and it is also destructive. So it says icing the pole or in the torrid clime. Icing means baraf jamana. It's cold, the polar regions. And then torrid is very hot at the above and beneath the equator. This is torrid clime. Clime is climate. So he says whether it is in the poles, icy cold place, or it is in the torrid climates, that it shows its power. Dark, heaving, boundless, endless, and sublime. He says, now this ocean, it is dark and heaving. It is like upheaval. It happens like dark and heaving. Heaving means taking a deep breath. And when you take a very long breath, then your chest rises up. So it heaves. So it is dark, heaving. Now boundless, that is without any boundaries. Oceans have no boundaries. Then he says endless, anant, that is it has no end. And sublime. Sublime is majestic. It is the beauty of God. It shows the beauty and the power of God. Like God is boundless. God has no boundaries, no constrictions, no restrictions, and endless, that it has no end, that God's power has no end, and sublime, that God is majestic, God is sublime. So it shows it is actually the reflection of God, the image of eternity. Now this is the image of eternity. It is sublime, where at the poles, at the equator, all these things. So he says that, so this is true, that whether it is in the calm state or in the stormy state, everywhere and at all times, it gives the image of infinity, the image of eternity. Eternity is that it is eternal, it is permanent, it is never changing, never ending. So this shows the image like God. God is never changing, almighty and eternal. So it is the image of eternity, the throne of the invisible. The throne of the invisible is, ये उनका सिंहासन है, invisible. Now who is invisible? कौन अदृश्य है? God is invisible. So he says it is the throne of God. जैसे अपने यहाँ है ना, जैसे इस पे विष्णु जी का जैसे कहते हैं कि उनकी सेज जो है शेषनाग पर, वो समुद्र में विराजमान है. It is somewhat like image of God like that it is the throne of the invisible. That is, ये सिंहासन है invisible का. Over here, invisible means God. Even from out of thy slime, the monsters of the deep are made. Over here, deep means ocean. Deep's ocean or sea को भी कहते हैं. That out of the slime, out of this ocean, after the slime, जो कीचड़ है ocean का, there are so many monsters are made in that. And in each zone, in all the zones, whether it is equator or it is poles or it is all these zones, the earth has been divided into 4 or 5 zones. So in each zone obeys thee, that oceans are present in all the zones, and all the zones obey the power of ocean. Thou goest forth, dread, fathomless, alone. That is, you are not controlled by anyone. You keep moving, you keep going. Goes forth, that you move forward fearlessly. Goes forward, thou goest forth, dread, fathomless, alone. That you are so dreadful. The people are scared of you. Men are scared of you. And fathomless, but alone. That he is, the ocean is alone. Ocean is fathomless. That it cannot be fathomed. It cannot be measured how deep it is. And it is all alone. And this alone, that he is alone, but he is almighty, all powerful, and he is alone. That is, if he is resembling God, we feel that God is one, God is alone, and he does all the work alone. He is mighty, he is powerful. So here, Byron is trying to say that ocean, or you can say nature, is all powerful, almighty, and man is nothing compared to nature. So here, the power of the ocean, or you can say the power of God, is reflected through ocean. God's moods are reflected in the ocean, like in tempest or in calm. Whether the oceans are calm or in the tempest, what is the mood of God? It is reflected in the condition of the uh, in the condition of the ocean. So I hope you have understood these stanzas, and we have a few more stanzas to do. Be patient, it is a long poem, as I told you in the beginning, but gradually we will analyze the whole poem and you will be able to understanding. If you have any queries, please post them on the WhatsApp group, and I have posted some PDF notes also on WhatsApp. Please consult them. This is all for today. Have a good day. Bye.